What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant content, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipeline. In today's video, I wanted to share with you another pretty incredible hair loss reversal transformation that I found on Reddit's subpage Trestless. You know, there's a lot of good information on this platform, and I am always amazed to see these incredible before and after transformations that people share. And I really think that, results like this really give a lot of those suffering from more advanced stages of hair loss hope, because you have people who literally are completely bald, full Nord 7s, who are usually not going to be good candidates for a hair transplant. And yet, they are able to miraculously reverse their hair loss simply through the use of various hair loss medications and treatment options. And this also shows that dormant hairs that have miniaturized for years and years can still be stimulated to grow, for certain individuals who respond favorably to treatment. This is the post on Trestless. This guy is a 37-year-old who has been on 8 months of oral dutasteride, both oral and topical minoxidil, RU5841, and ketoconazole shampoo. And he also throws in weekly microneedling. Now, he claims that he was a Nord 7 for the past 7 years, which means that he was probably afflicted with aggressive onset of genetic hair loss starting in his early 20s. And the image that you guys see on the left is going to be his baseline. He has the hair on the rim of his head on the back, but you can clearly see that there is no established hairline. There is no hair on the mid-scalp or crown area. And then the photo on the right is basically a complete reversal of his hair loss. It's very crazy just how much gain that he was able to achieve in a span of just 8 months. And, it's also crazy to see that with just a said treatment regimen, he was able to stimulate incredible growth of hairs, in areas that were completely dormant and miniaturized. Now, he also shared with us a month-to-month progress. And in these photos that you see here, you can see the obvious transformation and improvement as the months progress by. And it kind of looks like he started noticing some pretty good growth into his 3 to 4 month mark, which is, it's usually typical when using treatments such as oral minoxidil and dutasteride. And I think that most people start seeing actual initial improvement during this time. And, it's truly amazing that this guy was able to achieve all this hair without getting a hair transplant. And, he probably saved himself tens of thousands of dollars. And more importantly, he was able to, regain the hairs to the point where even several hair transplants wouldn't have been feasible due to his limited donor supply. So, patients like him would really benefit from treatment first to really assess and see how they would respond. And then once they've either gained a decent amount of hair back, they can stabilize their hair loss with continued use of treatment. And then they can look into, a hair transplant as an option for added coverage and density. Now, if this guy were to have had a hair transplant without starting medication, he likely would have only been able to kind of establish just the hairline portion, given, his finite number of grafts and his extensive degree of advanced hair loss. And there would be nothing left to fill in, kind of like in the mid-scalp or even the crown area, because as a Nord 7, that's a huge area that you would have to cover, basically the whole front and the mid region and the crown area, with sufficient density. And that is going to be impossible to do with a limited donor supply. But, he was truly lucky for being such a hyper responder to treatment. And I think the main players that really helped him stimulate the most hair growth was oral dutasteride and oral minoxidil. I've seen some really good hair loss, reversal transformations simply from oral minoxidil in a lot of individuals, because a lot of people don't have sufficient levels of the sulfotransferase enzymes in the hair follicles, which is going to be required to convert minoxidil into minoxidil sulfate. And I think that he really covered his base by using the strongest oral 5-AR inhibitor available, a growth stimulant in both oral and topical form. I've seen a lot of people using both topical and oral to just really, maximize systemic absorption as well as locally, and many have seen some pretty good results. And then he throws in an anti-androgen like RU5841 along with ketoconazole shampoo, which we know is also to be known as a weak AR inhibitor. And then lastly, he also throws in microneedling. All in all, this is a huge recovery in terms of, just hair growth, to the point where, he just literally went from a Nord 7 to a strong, like Nord 2.5 or Nord 3. And as far as his exact hair loss treatment regimen, he's using topical minoxidil 5% in the morning, and then in the evening he's using 0.5 milligram oral dutasteride, 5 milligram oral minoxidil, topical 5% RU, topical 5% Minoxidil, nasal shampoo, and then he states that he also does scalp massages, weekly microneedling at 1.5 millimeters, followed by various hair loss vitamin supplements. And he says that he doesn't experience any side effects from treatment and is just very happy to see huge gains. The only thing that I would really probably recommend in his case is using Pyrilutamide as an anti-androgen, because it is going to be a lot stronger than RU if I did for one. All in all, incredible, hair loss reversal transformation from the use of conventional treatments. And it's always good to see people responding as favorably as he is, to the point where a hair transplant really isn't even warranted. The thing is, not everybody is going to be free from, side effects from medication. So I always advise people to get baseline blood work done and to realize that everyone's going to respond differently to different treatments. And I'd say that, this guy's hair loss reversal isn't something that's really typical and it's more on par to that of a hyper responder. But it seems like the most improvement is seen in people in more of the advanced stages of hair loss. But the best thing that you guys can do is to act on early on the first onset of hair loss so that you can stabilize it long term. And then if there is added growth to that, that's going to be an added bonus. But assuming that you're suffering from just a moderate degree of hair loss, NORD 2, NORD 3, maybe even NORD 4, the stabilization is just going to be key here. Because once you're able to stabilize your hair loss, and also with having a decent amount of hair left and the dome area, you can easily revert back to a NORD 2. And the key is also just to be consistent with treatment and knowing that these medications are going to be a lifelong commitment. Now, had this guy really started treatment early on his first onset of hair loss in his early 20s, he very likely would have been able to just completely reverse his hair loss and be able to perhaps maintain being a NORD 1. Just assuming this because he's responded so favorably to treatment. But that pretty much wrapped up this video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of this guy's crazy transformation. If you had something similar in terms of crazy regrowth from similar treatment, oral dutasteride or minoxidil, let me know in the comments, and I would love to share your story on my channel. But thanks again, guys. I hope this video has been educational, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.